On this spooky edition of View the Right Thing, Wes and Steve stay up late for a horror doubleheader. Their first adventure is to a remote island where 9 college friends mysteriously begin dying one by one to an unknown killer. But does their host know more than she's letting them believe in April Fool's Day? Then we are taken to a small town radio station in Ontario during the deep freeze of winter. There, unexplained reports of random, violent attacks by normal citizens come into the station, and those trapped there begin to suspect one another and fall victim to similar foul play in the claustrophobic psychological thriller Pontypool. From a warm beach to the frozen tundra, it's time for a special spooky Halloween episode of View the Right Thing.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey, welcome back to another episode
welcome.
of View the Right Thing Spooky Edition.
Oh. Is it October, which means it's Halloween month up in this piece?
It is.
I love it. I love it, man. Halloween month. I guess you could just call it Halloween season.
I guess.
I mean, it's a season in LA. Like,
kind of.
Halloween's such a big deal in this town, and I love it, you know?
I have neighbors who put their Christmas decorations up right about now.
That's cool.
Is it?
Yeah, I guess not if it's already if it's only Halloween.
Yeah, it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Yeah.
Let's get some turkeys up before we get the Santas up.
I don't really decorate for either, but I like to think of my apartment as just kind of a house of horrors all year round.
Yeah.
Because I live, it's 3 dudes living in one place. It's
3 dudes in one place.
Pretty dude-erific in terms of...
Smells like dude.
Smells like dude up in there. And that's okay. It's part of being 3 dudes and,
I guess,
working and kicking it and having fun.
I guess so. How you been? It's been a week or so.
Yeah, we've watched 2 movies that we're going to discuss on this episode because it's Halloween and that means it's special.
Yeah. Well,
and then
3 movies. We're going to discuss the third one at the end.
Well, yes, of course. Should we tease
what
we're going to
say
discuss?
What we're going to talk about at the end.
All right, so first we're going to talk about the movies that you all should have watched by now.
Yep.
April Fool's Day,
Yep.
1986. And...
Whoa, a little gurgle from Steve there.
I got so scared.
Pontypool.
Pontypool.
Which you can watch on Netflix.
Yeah.
Which we watched on Netflix.
We did. It's a very inventive, definitely a different take on a horror movie, and it was pretty cool.
It was kind of, once again, the bucket gave us some kismet.
Yeah.
In that we got 2 movies that are unique takes on their genre.
Oh, yeah, that's very true.
They're both kind of different spins. So we'll get into all that stuff in a little bit. And then at the end, we're going to have a possibly spoiler-filled discussion about the new Magnificent Seven.
New Magnificent Seven, starring Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke, Vincent D'Onofrio, the other guys.
Yeah, the other guys.
That redhead girl.
Haley Bennett.
I forgot to look up her name.
Haley Bennett.
Distractingly attractive.
Okay. She's pretty.
I agree.
So
I do agree.
We haven't really hung out or seen each other for like a week, really.
No, it hasn't been a week. Well, Wednesday.
As far as the listeners know, it's only been like a week, about a week.
I guess so. See,
yeah,
for me it feels shorter because I got really sick.
Yeah.
I got food poisoning the night after the last time we hung out.
It's been less than a week, really.
Yeah, that's true. Wait.
Last Wednesday was the last. So we're dating our episode now.
Right, but for me it feels like 2 days because I spent 3 of those days quarantined in my house just to make sure I didn't pass the food poisoning on. Because while it really only lasted about 24 hours, I somehow got this from my roommate, who believes he got it from some bad coleslaw.
Did you eat the coleslaw that he ate?
Not at all. But I think what might have happened was...
cross-contamination.
I was out and about having fun, and then that night, Wednesday night, got home. He was up in the living room watching TV.
Yeah.
And I hung out, kicked it with him, watched some TV with him, and then I think when he went to bed, I took over the remote controls.
Oh, there's some cross-contamination
Probably should have sterilized those.
And then you would lick the controller.
Forgot to. No, well, apparently, according to what I've learned, germs like to get in through the eyes more than anything.
Oh, you rubbed your eyes.
So if you rub your eyes and you haven't washed your hands, you're setting yourself up for disaster.
Folks, never touch your eyes.
Never touch your eyes without washing your hands.
No, never touch your eyes. Just safer to just never touch your eyes.
I touch my eyes all the time. I wear corrective lenses. I got to reach in there sometimes.
Don't do it.
But
you got contacts, you're screwed.
You're not screwed.
You're going to get food poisoning. If you're going to get salmonella.
I mean, you're going to get food poisoning at some point in your life anyway.
Trichinosis.
But a good rule of thumb is wash your hands before you touch your whole face.
Okay.
I forgot to do that. Got my roommate's food poisoning. I kicked it a lot faster than he did. I lost 11 pounds. He's kind of jealous. And now I'm better. But we probably shouldn't kiss.
Food poisoning.
Food
now you're vomiting.
Just a little. Yeah. Amazingly, just a tiny bit of that.
That song is good for everything.
Oh, man. We got gross just now. Yeah, that song is good for everything. It's Monday now. It's Tuesday tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Monday now, and there's football on.
Wes got VR. He can play VR games.
Yeah. That's
interesting. I kind of jumped ahead a little there.
That's okay.
April Fool's Day was watched by Wes and Steve.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, it's interesting. Anything exciting other than food poisoning happened to you?
Wow. Well, this is sort of like a non-exciting, just that it just so happened to work out that while I was sick, basically horrendously sick Thursday, still pretty sick Friday, kind of a non-happening was that no auditions popped up that would have caused me to have to leave the house in my very pained and bedraggled state.
You know what they say, though?
So that's kind of a miracle.
Sometimes you hear these stories about, this actor who got famous on this role was really deathly ill when they did the audition or whatever. You
do hear those stories a lot. I've probably had one or two of those stories in my day. Certainly not with a really famous role.
Yeah.
But there have definitely been times when I am just like 100% down and out. Maybe didn't even have gas in my car and somehow still made it to the audition. And then, boom, I booked it. And it almost didn't happen.
You got to put yourself in that mindset from now on, every audition.
Maybe. I don't know. Because then it's like you don't want to go in with the stink of desperation coming off of you. Like, if I don't get this role, I'm going to, have to sell my car right when I walk out of here.
Or maybe you just bring it back a little bit.
Maybe.
Don't do it 110%. 90%.
It's tough, man. It's a tough call.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I just leave it up to fate.
I'm not a casting director.
I get an audition, I prepare as much as I possibly can with the time that I have, and then I leave the rest up to fate, baby.
Yeah. What's your favorite favorite project you've ever done as an actor?
I've ever done?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a real tough call.
Yeah, pick one.
All right. Well, I'd probably have to go with Waking. Because I had so many friends that were already working on it, and now I've also made very great friends with the people that did work on it. We were very much a tight family unit in the process of making that movie.
And
and that was really awesome.
Your very good friend Skylar is in that, right?
He wrote it,
and he stars in it, right?
And stars in it, and I play his best friend.
And who directed that?
It was directed by my now very good friend Ben Shelton.
Ben Shelton, that's right.
Of Soul Pancake / Impress Me and The Flip Side. And so much more.
Impress Me is a show about the imitators?
Yes.
You were on that too,
Impressionists,
right?
yes. Starring...
Did you do any impressions?
Sort of. In the first episode that I show up in, we're actually doing a scene about, using impression as a form of therapy.
Yeah.
To sort of help with anxiety and stuff. And so I play a guy who's really nervous and anxious, and I decide I'm going to impersonate Daniel Day-Lewis's Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And shout away the things that I'm afraid of.
Yeah. Was it good?
It's a funny little scene.
Was it a good impersonation?
Who's to say?
Okay. It's not. They've aired that. It was online, but they've aired it on TV, right?
Yes. It got picked up by Pop TV.
Pop TV.
And it was pretty cool. And now, old, Jim Ross Meskimen was. There were basically three main impressionists on it. Jim Ross Meskimen is just always doing great stuff. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, he's about to resurrect his show, Jim Impressions, as it's called. And then Ross Marquand, who's now on The Walking Dead.
He's Aaron on Walking Dead.
Which premieres very shortly, and I'm very excited.
Oh, man, is he going to live?
Gosh, I hope so. And then probably, the third most active impressionist on the show was Piot Michael, who's now on the new Mad TV. He plays Donald Trump on the new Mad TV.
He's real young, right?
He's pretty young. He's a pretty young guy.
Does he do Barack Obama too?
I don't think he does Obama. I haven't seen anybody do Obama.
I just recently saw this young white kid, right?
Yeah, but he does Trump and Obama.
Doing an Obama. It might not be him, but I thought it was maybe him.
Huh.
But
I'll have to look for who does Obama on Mad TV.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I don't think he plays him on Mad TV. I'm just saying, yeah, because that would be weird. Have a young white kid play. I
don't run the show, man. I don't get to say who does what.
I just think he does the voice.
Oh, all right.
Like on talk shows and stuff.
Okay. All right.
But I could be wrong. Could be a different guy.
But, shout out to the guys from Impress Me. I love those guys.
Yeah. I'm excited for Walking Dead to come back.
Me 3.
And your buddy Ross is really good on it.
I like to think he does great work on that show.
Yeah.
Some friends of mine from back east have sort of, surprise is a relative term, ambushed him, let's say, at a few conventions. He'll go for the for the big conventions, and they'll show up and make him do things like say hi to me in a video. Or
I saw that recently.
Yeah, this last friend of mine made these little Steve cutouts on popsicle sticks.
I want one. I want.
I mean, you could literally make your own, or I could write to Zazu, who lives in Orlando, Florida.
I want one from Zazu.
All right, I'll see if she'll send you a flat Steve. I'm a little.
It's not Pazuzu. It's Zazu. Right?
Zazu.
Okay.
I'm a little alarmed by the whole thing.
I'd like a cherry flavored Steve.
Well, I'm just worried that Ross is like, are these people excited to see me, or is Steve telling them, hey, Ross is going to be in your hometown, go give him a hard time?
Yeah.
The answer is they're very excited to see Ross, and they happen to be excited about the fact that he and I are buddies.
Yeah.
That's all. I feel like I'm just dropping names all over the place here. Am I doing that? Don't let me do that.
We can do that.
This is L.A. I guess pretty much every conversation involves that.
Yeah.
So thirsty right now.
Oh, he's going to take a drink from his AMC drink. AMC did not sponsor this podcast.
They did not. That's true.
Not yet. I want Vudu to sponsor this podcast because we
That'd be
watch
pretty cool.
most of our movies on Vudu.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Almost every single one of the films that we watched on Vudu.
Wow, that's cool. Although we just said how we watched Pontypool on Netflix.
We did. Well, yes, because I couldn't get it on Vudu.
Yeah, true.
I tried Vudu first, if you remember.
Should I deliver my message to Netflix?
Okay.
Netflix, I love you guys. I love what you provide. But on Saturday night, when I was staying home, keeping myself in, still feeling a little ill, I started watching 5 different movies, and I only managed to finish one.
Mm-hmm.
It's making me sad. I love the fact that people can make movies and get them onto Netflix. Maybe I just happened to pick the exact wrong 5 movies.
Right.
And I won't name names. But there were some snooze fests going on.
Yeah.
Snooze fest. So, Netflix, I love a lot of your stuff. Maybe go get a finer tooth comb for some of these, especially in the scary movies bracket. I don't know. Is Shudder giving them such a run for their money in the scary movie department? I don't know.
Yeah.
But these 5 scary movies I tried to watch, I only bothered to stick with one of them for longer than like 20 minutes.
Netflix is nice for,
it's great.
It's rentals and stuff.
Luke Cage.
But I just want to go back and say, if you're going to buy a movie,
yeah,
Vudu.
You do?
Vudu.
Who do?
Vudu.
Do
Reduce your carbon footprint.
Yeah.
With the physical media.
All right, I'm listening.
Go digital.
Yeah.
Now that's hard for me to say as a guy. You are sitting in my apartment right now.
I'm looking at your entire DVD collection.
I like to collect things. I like to collect physical things. But
welcome to being an American in the 20th century.
Yeah, but you gotta like I said, reduce the carbon footprint, buy less physical media. You can get digital media that lives in the cloud. You know what I like about Vudu?
Let me hear it.
You can actually download the movies that you own. They don't just have to live in the cloud.
So I could go home, set up I feel like they should be paying us.
They should, but
I could set up an account with them.
Yep.
And I could download
The Burbs,
BMX Bandits, or The Burbs, because I already own it on DVD.
No, it's not how it works. It's not how it works, buddy.
So what you're saying is what you just told me
No.
is a sham.
I'm saying if you own the movie via Vudu already, if you've already paid for it via Vudu.
Okay.
But they do have a really cool thing with DVDs. I don't know if The Burbs is one of them. I'm sure BMX Bandits is not. But The Burbs might be one of them, where you pop your DVD player into your computer.
Get out of here.
And it reads it, and you pay $2, and it gives you the digital version for $2.
That's insane.
And if you do 10 of them at once, it's 50% off.
Wow.
So 10 movies for $10.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Way
you
to
get
go.
your favorite things. It works with Blu-rays too. I mean,
Yeah.
If you want high def versions of those, like let's say you have a DVD of The Burbs, but you want the high def version on your computer, you just pay a little bit more, a couple bucks more.
Speaking of high def,
Yeah.
we watched April Fool's Day, 1986.
In high definition.
In high def.
HDX.
That looked beautiful.
It did. It was really, really cool.
Some of those shots were flat out beautiful. I was like, I wasn't expecting this movie
I've never
to
seen it
look
that
this
good.
good.
Yeah, I've never seen it look that good before.
It was real nice.
Well, I guess that's a good segue. Let's jump into April Fool's Day.
Okay.
So this is your first time seeing April Fool's Day.
Yeah, I remember as we talked about right before the show about how cool the cover box was.
Yeah, when I was a kid.
Yeah, I'd always look at it when I was at the video store, and
Mom
I
would
never
let me
bothered to
get
watch it.
Oh,
No.
Mom wouldn't let me get that.
See, that's the thing. I was allowed to watch horror movies forever. Somehow, just never pulled the trigger on April Fool's Day.
Yeah. My parents weren't like too crazy protective or anything. And I think if I saw stuff like on HBO or something, it was fine.
Yeah.
I think they didn't care so much about nudity, but I think
Okay.
they were not crazy about the idea of me seeing actual sex acts or simulated sex acts, in film, like R-rated films.
All right.
But they were pretty lenient.
So it was like Jason 4. The one girl goes skinny dipping all alone at night. Great idea.
Well, my first Jason...
That's fine.
My first Jason... It was Halloween, so spooky talk. My first Friday the 13th was Friday the 13th Part 6.
That was the first one you ever watched?
Yeah, and I watched
Wow.
it late at night by myself.
Yeah.
Downstairs, we had like a little basement family room thing.
Cool. A rec room.
Yeah, it used to be... I think it was... the story was it was like all the wood was like from an old blacksmith...
Cool.
like barn or whatever. It was all kind of smoky looking and stuff.
Pretty cool.
Had a little bar with mirrors and stuff down there.
All right.
And it was late at night watching on Showtime.
All
or
by
HBO
yourself?
or something. All by myself.
That's a bad way to watch a Jason
Yeah,
movie,
it was
bro.
tough. It was tough, but I did it because I was like, it's time. It's time I try this.
How old were you?
I want to say that's probably my first real horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd seen bits and pieces of other things. Like, I'd seen bits and pieces of, like, Creep Show on HBO or whatever.
Ooh.
I was 10, maybe?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You were so protected, my friend.
Not really. It was actually never really something that interested me. Not
Well,
until-
good for you.
but then once I started watching them, I really liked them. So,
Your dog's giving me eyes.
you can pick him up.
Oh, gee, Willikers.
You just couldn't pick him up when he was being a bad hound.
Okay, so the first horror movie I ever watched, I probably mentioned this.
Yeah.
I was like 5 years old,
Yeah.
and Friday the 13th one just happened to be on TV
Yeah.
in the middle of the day, and I watched it, and it was terrifying. And for many years, if I ever watched a Jason movie, I'd say probably till I was about 11, if I ever watched a Jason movie any time of day, I would have absolutely horrible nightmares that night.
Wow.
At 7 years old, my dad made me and my brother stay up late and watch Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1 on a school night. I'm not going to tell that whole story, but that effed me up.
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
He went laid down in his bed because you didn't pick him up. Go over there. Go over to Steve. There he
All
is.
right, I'm going to pick him up. Keep talking.
Yeah. Okay. So we got off April Fool's Day, but yeah, I'm a big fan of the Friday the 13th series. There's a new game coming out. Pre-ordered that. Pretty excited about it. All right, April Fool's Day. Tell me about April Fool's Day. Tell me about what you thought of the film.
Well, that takes place on April 1st, no matter which day of the week it is, unlike Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Has to be a Friday the 13th, which means Jason has to switch it up a couple times a year.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, because April Fool's Day actually takes place over 2 days, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, it really does, huh?
Yeah, because
So it's
over
really
a
more
weekend.
like,
It's April Fool's weekend.
April Fool's weekend.
Because they arrive there one day. They definitely have a night there.
They sure do.
And then it turns
what a
day
night.
and then night again. And they say that the police chief should be there by dawn, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So The dog, yeah.
He's so adorable, but he's like, adorable. Oh, pick me up so I can ignore you.
Yeah.
Might as well have a cat.
He just want to be under that blanket next to you.
Yeah.
So, what'd you think of the movie?
I enjoyed it. If you're listening to this, you should have watched it. I liked the twist at the end, although in a way the twist sort of cheapens the whole thing.
I don't really feel that way.
Okay, go on.
Let's talk a little bit about the movie, and then we'll get to the twist.
Yeah.
It's definitely a kind of 10 Little Indians style film, like a good slasher, where you have all these people, and one by one they're getting bumped off.
They sure are. They're on a remote island.
There's even
somewhere.
There's even little dolls.
Little dolls.
Like little 10 Little Indians kind of thing.
I don't know if I ever did watch 10 Little Indians.
It's an Agatha Christie story.
Oh, okay.
And it's been done millions of times in stories and TV shows and movies.
All right.
And you don't know who the killer is.
Ooh.
But people are slowly getting picked off one by one.
One by one in a remote location. Now, these guys are super remote.
Yeah.
Because they're in a big old house that seems to be the only house on the island, right?
Yeah. They're at Muffy St. John's house.
Muffy St. John. Played by... My phone shut itself down.
It's played by Deborah Foreman.
Deborah Foreman.
Deborah Foreman.
Now, wasn't she in Killdozer?
I don't know.
Or at least Killbots, I think.
Kill something.
She was in one of those.
Maybe. I have no idea. I've never.
She was in Valley Girl.
Valley Girl, okay.
And Waxwork. And
Real Genius. She's in Real Genius.
Oh yeah. Oh, she has one of my favorite lines in Real Genius.
Yeah, what's her line?
Well, it's very filthy. Should I say it?
I mean,
so it's like
edit yourself, maybe. I don't know.
Val Kilmer is trying to hit on her.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Have you ever blah 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 with a blah blah blah?" And she's like, "Well, that depends." And he goes, "On what?" And she goes, "Can you hammer a 6-inch spike through a board with your little Val there?" And his answer is just, "Not yet," which is it's very silly.
Yeah.
Oh, those 80s and their sexual harassment. So that was Deborah Foreman. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, she's in Lobster Man from Mars, which we need to watch. So I don't think it's in the bucket though.
They it's a whole bunch of college kids who are probably near the end of their first 4 years of college. Some of them maybe are going on to more studying. And
sounds right.
They all meet up on a ferry. There's a couple of newbies that not the main group doesn't necessarily know.
Right.
People that Muffy has met.
Good old Harvey
and
what's his nuts there? Rob, I think, right?
No.
No, they know
girl.
Rob.
It's the girl.
Oh, Nan.
Robbie and Nan. And
Good
then
Nan.
her cousin Skip is also coming.
Right.
And none of them have met Skip before.
Skip is in one of my favorite horror movies.
Yeah, which one?
Griffin O'Neill.
Yeah.
Little something called The Wraith.
Okay.
That's WRAITH. Charlie Sheen as a vengeful automobile racing ghost.
Okay.
Skip O'Neill plays one of the jerks.
Oh, well, all right.
Who else is in this movie that's super famous from a super famous trilogy of movies that we love?
Biff Tannen's in this film.
Biff Tannen.
What's his real name?
Thomas F. Wilson.
That's right.
Now he played a couple different Tannens if you really break it down.
Yeah, Mad Dog.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see him playing just
Griff.
kind of a regular dude.
Biff Griffin, Mad Dog.
Biff Griff. Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah.
Did they ever say Mad Dog's real name?
Buford.
We both knew it.
Yeah.
Good old Buford Tannen.
Yeah. So they all meet up on a ferry to head out to.
Yeah, they have to cross the water to. Did
The
they name
island.
the island? I feel like
think
they don't.
They do no.
Huh. Muffy St. John Island. They don't name it.
Muffy St. John Island. So they go out there. There's an accident. So some bad omens. Somebody gets their face ripped and eyeball hanging out.
Somebody gets stabbed in the gut.
Somebody gets stabbed in the gut, but not really. They reveal that to be an April Fool's prank almost immediately.
What do they call that game? Stretch?
Yeah, they throw the knife into the board, then they have to stretch to see if they can pick it up without falling down.
Terribly bad idea.
Especially on a moving vehicle.
On a moving vehicle to whip a switchblade into the wooden floor of the boat and then try to pick it up is a bad idea. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they fake the stomach stabbing. Somebody jumps in the water to help, gets his head smashed between the boat and the dock, and it is gruesome.
Yeah.
Poor Buck.
So, Buck gets maimed.
Yeah. Oh, I just heard a really weird high-pitched shriek. But
Did your mic come unplugged and you just plug it back in?
I don't think so. It happened like right inside my ear.
It might be Benjamin the ghost that lives in our apartment.
Oh, it is Halloween.
So, they get there. The sheriff is there, and he's like, Muffy, I'm going to take your boat.
Yeah.
Or no, they put the
They put the ship's captain in the sheriff's boat.
in the sheriff's boat, and the sheriff takes Muffy's boat.
Yeah, the ship's captain takes injured Buck back to shore for the hospital, and then the sheriff's like, Muffy, I'm going to take your boat.
I just realized something.
And leave the barge just hanging there.
Is the barge just hanging there the whole time?
Seems that
I
way.
don't remember seeing it again.
I don't know if they show it again, but I think logic
They definitely
dictates...
show the dock again.
Yeah, I think logic dictates that the barge would have to just be
And they
there.
just can't drive the barge.
Yeah, maybe the kids just let it float away. I don't know.
Yeah, because if I was freaked out by this whole murder thing, I would maybe try and drive the barge. If I thought there was a killer.
From your lips to God's ears, my friend.
So anyways, they all show up. Muffy's like excited to have them. She's gonna make a big inheritance, and she's gonna move into the house. And
it's a big house.
Yeah, it's a really big house.
That house made me miss the East Coast.
And the Griffin O'Neill, Skip,
yes,
feels real guilty about what happened to Buck. So he's real down in the dumps.
Very down in the dumps.
They all go to like have dinner, and
Muffy starts pranking them.
Yeah, so like one guy's chair, like the legs fall off, and he like rolls out of the chair, and then the chair like rights itself again.
Yeah.
She gives them all dribble glasses, things like that.
Oh right, they go to toast with the champagne, I guess,
Yep.
and they've all got dribble glasses.
They all have
April
like
Fools, Muffy.
things in their rooms. Nan's got a crying baby on a tape recorder in her room.
Yeah.
And she's like real upset by it. And then
what's it? Harv has those weird headlines like pinned up on the doors about 6 people being dead in an accident and all this stuff. Scary. What is it? The one couple has like bondage equipment in their room.
I think that's the
real hot girl.
The super hot girl who sleeps with everyone.
Nikki. Played by Deborah Goodrich. And her boyfriend is Chaz, played by Clayton Richter.
No.
Clayton Roner.
No.
Huh?
Wait, Chaz?
Yeah.
The movie guy?
Yeah, the guy that's having
That's not her
sex with
boyfriend.
Nikki. Well, he's the guy having sex with her a bunch of times.
Yeah, but they imply that she's going to have sex with Harvey, too.
Well, sure.
She's going to have sex with everyone.
All right, so the guy who gets to have sex with Nikki on the first night...
Right.
Chaz,
well, I just want to clarify because there actually is a real couple amongst the group. And that is...
Talking about Kit and Rob.
Kit and Rob. So Kit...
Played by Amy Steele of Friday the 13th 3 fame, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. And then 3 or 2?
2.
2.
You were correct.
And then Ken Olant.
Who
was in Summer School. He was the dancing stripper who was always falling asleep in Summer School, the Mark Harmon movie.
He was also in Leprechaun.
Okay.
The first Leprechaun.
Never seen Leprechaun.
He's been in a whole lot of TV shows.
Yeah. So anyway, so they all find various things. I think the girl who sleeps with everyone also has a problem with her faucet.
A problem with her faucet.
She turns the faucet on and it starts spraying at her. You don't remember, but it happens. It happens a couple times.
Oh yes, yeah. She's having trouble with the water in general because then they have to go to the well later on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah.
Interesting. Somehow.
Oh, the guys, the Biff.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name? The movie?
Thomas Wilson. He plays Arch. See, that's the thing. There's an Arch and a Harv. Gets a little confusing.
I think it was Archie. They called him Arch.
Yeah, he's credited as Arch.
Yeah. Arch goes to open the door from their room to get out of the room, and the doorknob comes off.
That's
right off stuff like that.
Yeah, you know.
And then that night, when everyone's either sleeping or doing it,
Skip skips away.
Well, he appears to be murdered.
Well, first he skips on out and finds what is supposed to be a marijuana crop.
But is not.
Not even close. Cuts some of that off, goes to smoke it in the boathouse.
Yeah. And then he gets... Well, yeah, so let's just remind everyone that we're not going to go through this whole thing in like super close detail. Just try to broad stroke it.
Good point.
So Skip gets...
Murdered in the boathouse.
Murdered in the boathouse.
We don't really see how. We just see him get grabbed.
Yeah. The next day, Muffy's like real weird. She's acting super, super weird.
Her hair's all frizzed out. She's dressing strange.
Yeah.
She's acting like she's afraid of everybody.
Yeah, unsure, low confidence.
And then somebody goes to do it, and they find Skip's corpse.
Yeah, they find Skip's corpse. Nan has an argument with Muffy, and then she disappears. Arch disappears.
Oh yeah, he almost gets bitten by a snake.
But then somebody walks up, and they go to the water stops working, so they go to the well.
Oh yeah,
and
that's kind of a
girl's name
gross
again?
scene. Nikki goes down in. Harvey's at the top. Harv's talking about how he wants to plow a field. Yeah,
he does use those words.
And Nikki's just sort of like, yeah, I'll probably let you. I don't know. It's the 80s.
Yeah, something kind of like that. So she goes down into the well because the bucket falls in, and she finds 2 heads and Nan's body. Harv goes down there to help her out. So that's weird.
Yeah, they never really show him getting her all the way out, huh?
They think it's the boat guy is there for revenge. They call the sheriff, and
sheriff says, "Hey, I'm in the hospital with the boat guy right now. He's in terrible condition."
But don't trust Muffy.
No.
Then the movie guy gets killed.
Chaz
gets his wiener cut off.
Yeah, his death was actually pretty lackluster.
Yeah. And then the
lacked something else too by the time it was over, if you know what I mean.
The killer shows up and gets Nikki.
Yeah.
Harv's got a gun. That's interesting.
Harv is packing heat.
Yeah.
On an island retreat.
Harv goes missing as well, I believe.
No, they find him hanged.
Yeah, but I mean they're like Kit and Rob are like, where is everybody? And they start running through the house, and they find that everybody's missing, and then they eventually find Harv.
Hanged Harv.
Hang
him Harv.
The sheriff doesn't show up, all this stuff.
All right.
It turns out that Muffy is really Buffy, her sister.
Twin sister.
And they find Muffy's head in the basement. All this craziness, right?
All sorts.
So one by one, everybody's been kind of picked off, leaving Kit and Rob, who are maybe having a tough time right now. They're like so caught up in their stresses about their lives and what Rob's going to do with his, he didn't get into med school because his grades weren't good enough or something, or he wasn't serious enough.
Damn it, Rob.
And so he's taking everything super seriously. And
now their lives are in danger and all their friends are dead.
He gets locked in the cupboard, and then Muffy Buffy is chasing.
Weird thing about that chase scene.
Yeah, tell me about the chasing with the knife. Chasing Kit with the knife.
They run away from the house. Muffy's house.
Yeah.
Then they run back to the house.
Well, okay, so Kit. So this is before the chase. Well, yeah, this is before the chase scene.
Well, that part's not the weird part.
They find the bodies, and they go out to the dock to meet the sheriff, but the sheriff isn't there.
Right.
So they go back in to call the sheriff.
Yes, but then they somehow manage to lock Muffy out of the house with no explanation at all. They get to the house, it's all locked up, they sneak through a window, but somehow Muffy, who owns the house and is the one behind all these murderers, is locked out of the house. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, so presumably
it was so they could do the knife in the lock scene. That's all. They wanted to do the knife in the lock scene.
I mean, presumably Muffy was trying to kill them outside.
Okay, but why?
Because there's plenty of places to hide and things to do in the house. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
But why would she lock herself out of her own murder house? You get it.
It was an accident. I don't know. I don't know. It was the 80s. So
sure was.
So anyways, Rob gets locked in the pantry. She chases Kit. Rob eventually gets out of the pantry, finds his way to where they are, and it's all been one big April Fool's Day prank.
April Fool.
And everybody is still alive, hanging out. Even the boat guy that got his face mangled was an actor. He was a stuntman.
Turns out he's a local makeup designer, too.
Makeup guy, yeah.
Which is impressive, because that basically lets you know that, he applied that terrifying gore makeup while completely submerged underwater.
Yeah.
Seems like the worst way to try to apply terrifying gore makeup. In a lake. It's not like he was in a nice clean bathtub. He was in a filthy lake.
Yeah. So
sweet buck.
So here's the thing about this movie that I actually think is kind of genius.
I'm listening.
So it's not a comedy.
No.
By any means. And you definitely think that people are getting killed throughout the film.
Oh, yeah.
Because you see like the heads and stuff and the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's really genius about the film is in the 80s, actually starting in the late 70s, but so for about 8 years leading up to this film,
yeah,
you had all these films that were about holidays or special days.
There was a decent handful of those.
You got Halloween,
Friday the 13th,
Prom Night,
Black Christmas,
Graduation Day, My Bloody Valentine, Slumber Party Massacre.
You know what there still wasn't? Thanksgiving.
Okay. So anyway, so April Fool's Day comes along and takes that genre that had been being done over and over and over again, and they put it on its ear, so to speak. And that's something that I think, and I feel like it works. You definitely, in some ways, where it doesn't work is it's so run of the mill, it's so standard, that it gets a little like, okay, now this is going to happen, now this is going to happen, now this is going to happen. But the great part is, if you make it all the way to the end,
right,
you get a pretty cool payoff. I think.
And Nikki's still alive. Which is great.
And it was not a big gore fest. Even the severed heads are not that horrifying or anything.
Right. Thank goodness.
So I guess it became popular when it hit TV because they didn't have to edit stuff out.
True.
There's no nudity in the film. There's no...
There isn't.
No, you can kind of see through a shirt in one scene. There is some brief sex, but you don't really see anything.
Yeah.
And the violence all happens off screen because none of it's real.
That's true.
With the exception of the boat guy and the fake knife in the stomach.
Yeah.
But everything else is pretty much just... You see the bodies after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, Chaz just lays down to take a nap with that zipper mask on, and then Nikki walks in and he's just dead.
Got a bloody wing area.
He's got a bloody circle on his pants.
Yeah.
And she screams, and then we don't know what happens to her.
Oh, yeah. Also, it turns out that Skip is really her brother. And this whole thing was to test out this idea of a weekend getaway murder mystery thing that she has this idea for. Because she had to prove that she can... have this house and they don't need to sell it and she can make some money with it.
Right. Muffy is the one having to prove that.
And there is no Buffy.
There's no Buffy. Buffy was a fabrication. Sort of like, what was his name? Doug Kaufman in Adaptation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you want to hear something, you want to hear spooky?
Of course.
Because it is a Halloween episode. So it's time for something spooky. So Griffin O'Neill plays Skip in the movie. And he does the prank which disfigures the guy.
Right.
In real life.
Oh, no.
He was indicted on manslaughter charges.
Oh, my gosh.
The year after this movie came out.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy.
For a drug-induced boating mishap.
Oh, no.
That resulted in the death of Francis Ford Coppola's son.
That's terrible.
Crazy, right?
Real crazy.
Yeah.
Poor everybody involved in that story.
Life imitating art.
Yikes. Boats, man. Boats and drugs don't mix. Nor do boats and booze. When you're on a boat, stay sober. And a thing that rhymes with that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's terrifying, man. So that was... That would have to have been after The Wraith. The Wraith was also 1986, so The Wraith must have been in the can by then.
Yeah. So Deborah Foreman, who plays Muffy Buffy, fought for the role. Like they didn't take her on her first audition.
That's cool.
They tried to sign other people that backed out, and so she came back in and like fought for it, and I guess she blew them away.
Way to go, Deborah Foreman.
Yeah, good for her.
Is there anything in the trivia about like who else was up for it?
Not that I know of.
Shelley Duvall.
No, I don't think Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Long.
I don't think Shelley Long. She was probably busy on Cheers at this time.
Shelley Winters.
Not that I know of.
Those are the only three Shelleys I know of, folks.
Mary Shelley?
Well, Mary Shelley was an author, long dead by this time.
Oh, okay. Filmed in British Columbia. It was so beautiful.
So that's Canada, then?
Canada.
Wow.
All American actors, though.
Is that East Coast Canada or West Coast Canada? I feel like British Columbia's West Coast. But I'm no expert. I'll admit it. I'll be the first to admit I'm no Canadian expert.
So there's a novelization of this story.
There is?
Yes. And it was published the same year that this came out.
Written by?
Jeff Rovin.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be like a big surprise name.
So there were a couple changes. Muffy's maid was black. Who cares?
I don't even remember a maid.
The maid shows up at the very, very beginning, and when Muffy is in the basement listening to the music box, and she's like sorting some things around, and the maid's like, "Is there anything else you need?" Blah blah blah, because she's gonna be gone all weekend.
Oh, the maid's leaving for the weekend.
Yes,
that's why I don't remember the maid. She left. She got out alive.
Rob also cheats on Kit.
She made it out alive
in the novelization.
Rob cheats on Kit?
Yeah, I assume with Nikki.
They're only there for 2 days.
I mean, Nikki or Nan, right?
Or?
I don't think it's Muffy.
Or Muffy.
I don't think so.
What if he did it with Muffy while she was in, insane mode?
I was rooting for a Muffy Arch thing.
Aww. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Arch was too.
Yeah, well, there was a reference. There was sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Kind of near the beginning.
That's right, huh? Yeah, Arch is really like trying to lay it on, and
yeah,
and then Muffy snaps. But she's only pretending.
Yeah.
There is a party going on out there. Some sort of harvest ceremony or something. I don't know. They're building a wicker man in the yard. And a man is screaming for his life.
Yeah.
As they prepare to burn him inside the head of the wicker man. Yikes.
So apparently there was another sort of act that had been removed from this. I don't know if they just refilmed it or what.
Yeah.
But because the book came out around the same time, it was revealing the movie's hand.
Oh.
But apparently some versions of the home movie edition has photos from that aren't in the movie.
Huh. Some versions of the home video edition has photos that aren't. Wow, that's quite a mystery to solve, and I think it's up to us to solve it, pal.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember the infamous Cosmo questionnaire when they're making dinner?
I remember there being a Cosmo questionnaire. I don't remember any of the actual questions.
She's asking about what your first time was like and stuff like that.
Okay.
So apparently, the actress was doing that with the other actresses.
Oh.
On their free time or offset.
That's fun.
The director heard it and gave her the magazine and gave her a new set of questions and told her to just improv.
That's cool.
So apparently that's kind of an improv scene.
That's fun to know.
Yeah.
It's the kind of crap that would happen at a weekend getaway.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all stranded here. Answer these questions.
Now, this movie does have a connection to Friday the 13th. Not story-wise.
Well, what the lady who played Kit?
Well, besides Kit.
Okay, so there's another connection. Let me try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Did it have to do with cast or other crew?
Crew, yeah.
Crew? Director?
No.
Right.
I'm just going to jump to it.
The
producer, Frank Mancuso Jr., was also produced 4 of the Friday the 13th films.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it say which 4?
No.
Darn it. I suppose I could IMDb that part. I hope he produced Friday the 13th Part 4, because that's my favorite one.
Yeah, you like that Corey Feldman, huh?
I mean, I just think that's like the best of them all, Also because it's Part 4 and it's the final chapter, and then there's been like chapter, 6. Yeah. No, but I mean the subtitle is.
Yeah, but 5
Friday
is the new beginning.
The final chapter, yeah, and exactly, and then
but
they just
Part 6, Jason Lives. I mean,
Jason Lives,
pretty solid.
It just makes me laugh. Oh, Friday the 13th. Producers. Where's Mancuso over here? There we go. Let's see. Which Friday the 13th? Part 2. Oh, he produced Species as well. So much stuff. Stigmata.
Yeah.
Ronin. He produced Ronin with Robert De Niro.
I guess so.
Hoodlum with Lawrence Fishburne and Tim Roth there. Cool World. He Said, She Said. War of the Worlds, the television series. Friday the 13th, the series. Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Friday the 13th, Part 4, The Final Chapter. My favorite one. He's a producer on it. Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Way to go, Frank Mancuso.
Would you like to know what the alternate ending was?
You bet.
All right.
You can't stop me from wanting to know.
All right. So the whole weekend's a setup. Yeah. The guests leave except for Rob, Kit, Chaz, and Nikki.
Yeah.
And they sneak back to the house to prank Muffy for revenge.
Oh.
But when they get there, Skip is there, and he cracks in a rage of jealousy and tries to kill Muffy.
Oh, my gosh.
Rob jumps in, saves Muffy, and kills Skip in the process.
Ooh. So, in that, somebody would die.
Yeah. But in this, zero body count.
Zero body count. Even with that little stinger at the very end, too.
Even the stinger at the end. The stinger at the end's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Because
you're like, oh, finally we got it. And then it's like, no.
Nope. It's all fun and games.
Yeah.
It's all funny games. It is getting really dark in here. Almost Halloween dark.
Yeah.
That was
really?
Michael Myers' theme.
Okay, so there are actually two references to Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah.
Amy Steele.
Amy Steele.
Right.
The actress.
The cat scares Skip.
Sure. That happens in so many horror movies, though. Scaredy cat jumping out at you.
Arch gets hung upside down in a rope, just like Scott in Friday the 13th Part 2. Yeah, so that was... So tell me more about what you felt about this. I mean, now that we've kind of talked about the twist.
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of, I enjoyed the ride. But, yeah, then once it's over, it's kind of like, oh, that was really more of a prank movie than a horror movie.
Yeah. But it's kind of like, okay, well, so would you consider, like, The Birds to be a horror film? I mean, horrific things happen in it. The birds attack the people.
Yeah, I would consider that.
But the first half of the film is a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Right? For those of you that haven't seen The Birds, I highly recommend it.
I guess it's kind of a horror film disguised as a romantic comedy, a romantic comedy that becomes a horror film.
Yeah, I mean, if the whole movie is horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is people go, oh, this movie's not a horror film. Horror isn't a real genre.
What do you mean?
Horror itself, it's too broad. It's not a real thing. For something to be a horror film, it just has to have horrific things throughout it.
Sure, murders, monsters.
Sure, but by that, but there's a lot of police detective movies that would qualify.
Yeah, I mean, like Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, which a lot of people consider a horror film, right?
Very true.
But they don't consider...
kind of really more of an investigation film.
Yeah. So...
and a sexy tuck dance film.
I think, this falls more in the slasher category, because that's the vehicle that drives the whole thing. That's the boat that drives the whole thing, is the slasher.
I can dig that.
Zombie movies versus infected movies. They're two very different kinds of films. So I think, like, when you get more specific, those are horror films. I heard someone saying that this movie came out last year, The Forest, wasn't a horror film. The Forest.
With Marjorie Tyrell.
It's absolutely a horror film because horrific things happen in it. And, there's ghosts and creepy crawlies and things, but it's slow and it doesn't have a high body count. So people go, oh, it's not a horror film. Well, that's not the definition of... like, that's the problem with labeling things horror.
Well, I mean, horror is just the big broad umbrella.
Yeah, but then if it doesn't fit what all these other horror films are, then all of a sudden it's not horror anymore. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that term is used too loosely, and so yeah, it just confuses people.
Interesting.
So be more specific with your genres, people.
I worry that you're overthinking it.
I'm just tired of hearing people like say stuff they don't know what they're talking about.
Well, who isn't tired of that?
Alien's like a war film practically, but
also kind of a horror
film. A horror film.
But also a sci-fi film because it's about being in space.
Sure.
I say space, outer space.
Yeah. I mean,
outer space. Star Wars.
Samurai film.
Samurai film and a fantasy, not really a sci-fi at all.
Fair enough.
But people call it sci-fi because it's got lasers and spaceships, so whatever. Let's not get nitpicky.
This is what I'm saying, though. The things that people consider genres are too big.
Too big.
And so it's too confusing for people. You got to be more specific.
I think it's only too confusing for people like us that think about it too much.
40-Year-Old
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Science fiction.
Totally.
Yeah. Wall Street. Family entertainment.
Uh-huh.
Got a father and a kid there arguing. I don't know. I haven't seen Wall Street in so long.
I don't know what you're talking about anymore.
Bad News Bears.
Bad News Bears.
Horror film.
Total horror film.
I mean, think about it. If you ran into a bear...
abusive.
What's the worst news that could happen from running into a bear? That'd be pretty horrific.
Yeah.
Should we move on to Pontypool?
Pontypool.
Pontypool was a fun movie.
Pontypool.
It opens with like a 4-minute monologue while you're looking
Pontypool,
and the whole time you're just looking at like a funny little, what would you even call that? Like a digital kind of...
It's an audio wave.
An audio wave, yeah, of this guy's voice as he's explaining Pontypool.
Mrs. French's cat.
Mrs. French
is missing.
Yeah, that's the one. Gosh. How to even discuss Pontypool. Yeah. It almost seems... Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a pool, you should just jump right in.
Pont de Flac.
Pont de Flac. I feel like you're just making up phrases you want me to think are French.
Remember who drives across Pont de Flac? Colette. Colette sounds like culotte. Panty in French.
Ooh.
Piscine means pool. Pontypool.
Pontypool.
Flac also means pool in French.
Ooh.
So Pontypool. Colette Piscine in French, Pontypool drives over the Pont de Flac. The Pont de Pool.
So much French in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
But it's all in English.
Well, there's definitely... there's French in the movie.
Yeah, that's true. It takes place in Pontypool, Canada. What, Ontario?
Yeah.
I feel like that's the big... What, province? Do they call them provinces up there?
Province.
I feel like...
Canadian province, that sounds right.
I think that's correct. Haven't been to Canada, folks. Sue me.
Yeah.
Go ahead and sue me for not visiting Canada. You'll get laughed right out of court. American court.
So the movie follows Grant Mazzy, who's a radio, like kind of rockin' radio DJ.
Yeah.
He's like stuck in the morning in this little tiny town, and
he wears a cowboy hat all the time.
Yeah,
like he's Don Imus.
Like a leather jacket or something, right? And sunglasses.
Wears cool sunglasses and leather jacket combo.
Doesn't he wear sunglasses?
I don't think so.
Maybe that's just in a photo I saw. I don't know.
But he has to wear his headphones wrong because he refuses to take his cowboy hat off.
Yeah.
At his radio station job. And then he's got 2 off-air sidekicks. What were their names? Sydney and Lisa Ann?
Sydney Breyer is alive.
Sydney Breyer is alive.
Laurel Ann?
Laurel Ann. I knew it.
Now, you hadn't seen this movie. There's another one you hadn't seen.
I'd never seen it.
I had.
I had very little information about it.
Third or fourth time watching this movie.
Oh, wow.
I really like this one.
I enjoyed it. I don't know that I'd dive back in too quickly.
Oh, no. I mean, over, like a year apart or something. But I think it's fun to show people this movie because it's so different from what they're used to. I mean, let's just kind of come out and say it. It's essentially an infected or zombie kind of film.
Yeah.
Infected is the right term.
Infected for sure.
Because it's not undead people.
No. There are people who are alive.
Yeah.
But something has triggered a slow-walking, vicious bloodlust within them.
Yeah, they get sick.
What makes them sick?
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
So Grant Mazzy shows up in the morning to do his radio show, news and talk radio and whatnot.
Yeah.
And Laurel Ann is the homecoming hero, the ex-military girl who is the intern there.
Right.
Sydney Breyer, who is alive, is the producer.
Yeah.
And
she gets to tell Grant what to say.
Grant is pissed at his agent for getting him this job, but it sounds like there was a big problem at some big, big radio station that he used to be at in the big city.
Right.
He rubbed people the wrong way.
Classic Grant Mazzy.
He is what they refer to as a take no prisoners kind of DJ. So he kind of just cuts through BS and calls it how he sees it.
Right.
Even if that means kind of poking fun at people who are guests.
He does plenty of that.
So basically what happens in this movie is they get a call from the traffic guy who's in the Sunshine Chopper.
Kenny
in the Sunshine Chopper.
The Sunshine Chopper.
And he's telling him about traffic, and then he sees that there's a big disturbance at this doctor's office.
Oh.
And the building explodes, and people are pouring out of it, and all this crazy nonsense.
Oh, my God.
And they're like, what the heck? Can we get confirmation of this? And as the movie progresses, they do get confirmation, and they have some guests come in.
Right.
Who
Lawrence
are
and the Arabians.
Lawrence and the Arabians, who are doing a probably racist.
It's a very
musical
racist stage musical of Lawrence of Arabia,
but with Osama bin Laden.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It is a little weird.
Very weird.
So
I'll say it.
One of the girls who's there singing starts muttering to herself. What does she say?
I literally don't remember.
She doesn't say missing, does she?
No, that's Laurel Ann. Laurel Ann's key word is
missing.
Yeah. Missing. I feel like the girl says something about food. I don't know. Potatoes. I'm hungry.
So the little girl. Anyways, they escort her away. But that's our first clue that something is amiss.
Oh yeah.
Eventually, they get another call from Ken. He's being stalked by people who are like pulling other people out of cars, and he's in like a grain silo, and somebody's teenage boy is after him.
Right.
And he falls down, and he's repeating something to himself. Eventually, Ken starts repeating things to himself in one of the phone calls.
He messes up the word sample.
Sample. He's sample. Where's the sample?
Poor Kenny in the Sunshine Chopper.
Yeah, which really is his car.
What?
It's really not a Sunshine Chopper.
He didn't really go up in a helicopter all day, every day?
He did not.
He's a liar. You're a liar, Ken.
Now, the doctor's office, who exploded. Now, the doctor was like...
Dr. Mendez.
Yeah, Dr. Mendez is maybe up to no good prior to this. Like, he's maybe got some lawsuits hanging. He somehow shows up at the radio station. He crawls in through a window.
Right.
To explain what all is going on. They also have... some French-speaking military type interrupt their radio broadcast, telling them not to speak to loved ones, stay inside,
avoid the English language,
That's and terms of endearment.
Avoid terms of endearment.
Yeah,
that's right.
And Laurel Ann goes insane.
She does.
Missing.
She smashes that adorable face of hers into a glass wall
over and over again. Yep. Cuts her face all up pretty badly.
Sad.
And the doctor says, essentially like without something to hunt and kill, we don't know what's gonna happen to her.
Yeah.
She vomits blood all over it.
It's so gross. It's and then so she dies.
Gross. The doctor also goes, what is it? Breathe.
Yeah, he starts to crack up with the word breathe. But then he starts speaking a different language.
Starts speaking French, I believe. Oh no, he starts speaking something else, and then they start speaking French.
Yeah.
And they decide to leave him, but they do have this idea. So these people show up in the. They basically raid the all the zombie people or whatever.
A herd.
People, a herd.
A herd comes walking in.
And they're banging on the radio glass, the radio booth glass.
Mm.
And so they decide to send a message through the loudspeakers. And so they send a message to let the military people outside know.
Right.
Sidney Breyer is alive. And they put it on the loudspeakers out in the parking lot, and the zombies sort of disperse.
Yeah.
They leave the doctor in the radio booth, and they go barricade themselves in like a supply closet type thing.
That sounds like the right word for it.
It's like gear and all sorts of stuff, and it's big.
It's very big. It's more, supply depot. No.
More of the walkers. Thinking Walking Dead still. More of the herd come back.
I'm thinking about it too.
They barricade themselves in. They write to each other back and forth for hours.
Yeah. Oh, right. We see that door. Like they show her writing one thing on it, and then it's like flash forward, and there's like thousands of things written on the door.
One thing I did miss saying.
Yeah.
And that was before they leave the radio booth, Sydney calls to check on her kids and tell them that she loves them.
Oh, right.
Mistake.
Big mistake.
So anyways, they're in this thing, and she starts repeating kill, 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 kill. And they figure out that it's not, with the help of the doctor previously, but they figure out that the thing that's infecting everyone is spread through words. Not through the air, not through blood, not through saliva.
Not through bites.
Yeah, it's
words.
It's words. And it's the words that get repeated are infected.
Ooh.
And so they... when he hears her saying kill,
Mazzy
decides to replace the word kill. Kill means kiss. Kill means kiss.
Oh,
kill means kiss. Kill
like
means
where
kiss.
this is going.
And she starts to calm down. And my favorite line, which is probably an obvious moment if you were writing this thing, but I love it anyways. She says, "Kill me."
Right.
And so he kisses her.
They French kiss.
And
they're French Canadian.
Yeah.
All right. Way to go.
So they decide that they've got to tell the world how to solve this. So they go back into the radio station and do one last broadcast.
Oh, yeah. Last broadcast. Scary movie.
Okay. And then the town starts getting bombarded with bombs, and he's explaining that sample is staple, or whatever.
Yeah,
kill
he's basically
is kiss.
saying, like, this word is that word, and that word is this word. And,
orange.
Yeah, and he's like, light is dark, and then he's like, no, wait, that's too obvious.
'Cause it's opposite.
Light is a lemon, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they do their last broadcast, and the place gets bombed.
Oh, snap.
And that's kind of what we're left with, right?
Pontypool.
Wow, we just really whipped through that one.
Very interesting. Well, I mean, the whole movie takes place inside one radio station, so there's not a lot to explain.
Yeah.
You know, a few people show up. That's it.
Yeah. Now, when we were watching the film, like pretty early on, you had the feeling that they were getting pranked by everyone outside, that it was a War of the Worlds situation.
Yes, I started to think that maybe it's a reverse War of the Worlds, where the audience is pranking the radio station.
I love that you said that, because
go on.
The movie is both a motion picture and a radio play, which is pretty cool. The radio play is only 58 minutes, though.
Wow.
And the movie is 95 minutes, so
that makes a lot of sense, because most of the movie is a few people in one room having conversations.
Now, the original concept for the movie was like kind of artsy, and it was the whole thing was that wavelength.
Oh God!
So you basically listening to a radio play, and all you would see is
I would have walked out.
Line. You would hear Sydney, and Laurel Ann would only be mentioned. You would never hear her.
Oh wow!
So
actually,
it would just be granted.
I wouldn't have walked out.
I mean, it would have been interesting.
Yeah,
I would have watched it at home
at my phone the whole time.
Yeah, it would have been
checking email.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Email.
I don't like this whole phone thing during movies. You know that.
Well, I don't like it either. But if there's literally nothing on screen, I'm gonna look at my phone.
Yeah. So the director refers to, instead of zombies, refers to them as conversationalists.
That's a good one.
Yeah. There are 3 stages of the virus. First is you might begin to repeat a word. Something gets stuck. It's usually words that are terms of endearments like sweetheart or
kill.
Honey.
Mrs. French's cat.
Mrs. French's cat is missing.
Mrs. French's cat is missing.
The second stage is your language becomes scrambled. You can't express yourself properly. Third stage is you become so distraught that you feel like the only way out of your situation as an infected person is to try to chew your way through the mouth of another person.
Gross.
Yeah. Which sort of explains what happens to Laurel Ann's mouth.
Oh, her
she
mouth
probably
gets so
chewed
messed
through
up.
her own cheeks.
Scary.
Let's see here.
I miss you, Laurel Ann.
Yeah.
I mean, we never knew each other ever, but I miss you. There, I said it.
There's a book in the background called Snow Crash.
Oh, yeah?
And that is a book about an earworm virus
Ugh.
that transfers itself through verbal information.
Yikes.
Hint. Little hint in the movie.
Snow Crash.
The actors that play Grant and Sydney,
Yeah.
married in real life.
Really?
Yep.
That's his real-life wife?
Yep.
All right.
Now,
Sidney Breyer is alive.
Sidney Breyer is like now.
Sidney Breyer is
Now,
alive.
the bombs drop and it goes black. We don't actually know that they die.
True.
There are 2 planned sequels.
Let me hear.
No, that's all I know.
Oh.
There are 2 planned sequels.
I thought there were plans in terms of, like, the one's going to be like this and the one's going to be like that.
I don't know. That apparently that they came up with the ideas for the second and third film before the first one.
Cool.
So it's really kind of like a prequel to the things that they originally planned.
Pontypool 2.
Which is kind of cool.
The deep end.
Because then it's like exciting that it wasn't like an afterthought to do 2 or 3 films.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Pontypool 3. Adult Swim. Adult Swim, it's not as funny to reference anymore because now it's been a TV program for 16 years.
Yeah.
Remember when you were a kid and you'd hear the phrase Adult Swim, you'd be like, oh, I remember that. And now it's a very successful TV program. Pontypool 2 and 3, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
I wonder if they would take place in the same town or different towns.
So you wouldn't necessarily go back to it, but you
well, I wouldn't go back to it too soon.
But you did enjoy the film.
Yeah. I think it was an inventive way to look at a quote-unquote zombie...
Or infected, yeah.
Or infected uprising.
Just a...
incident?
It's kind of a post-apocalyptic thing, right? It's, yeah, I don't know.
We don't know.
The dawn of the conversationalists.
Yeah, ooh. Convies.
Convies.
We
Nice.
got a great big convie
Yeah.
rolling through the night.
So that was Pontypool. Please let us know what you guys thought of April Fool's Day and Pontypool.
Yeah, tweet at us.
At
VTRT Movies.
Yeah.
Or even...
Movie Hippo. I really prefer you guys just tweet at that.
Okay.
I mean, you can tweet at Steve, too.
You can tweet at Steven No Howood all you want.
Don't worry about Movie Hippo. Just...
Okay.
I read all of the VTRT movies Twitter
all right.
responses. So I see it there.
Okay,
and
good.
I'm the one who responds usually. So
that's true. I don't have access to the account.
I mean, you do. You have a password, but you just don't care. He
I
doesn't care, folks.
He
doesn't care, folks.
It's not that I don't care.
He cares too deeply, folks.
Well, it's that I care just enough.
Okay. So let's talk about a few things. Let's talk about some stuff. Let's talk about trailers. Have you seen any interesting trailers recently?
Gosh, we just saw a handful.
We just saw a cool Rogue One trailer.
Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
I think that looks like a fun movie.
I had not seen that new trailer before.
I had not seen it before either.
It was good.
So, folks, if you're not interested in spoilers or things that could be spoiled as from trailers, don't listen to this. We're also going to talk about Magnificent 7. We will talk about spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers for Magnificent 7, I hate to say this, but this was the end of your View the Right Thing journey for this episode.
Oh, boy.
But
should we draw from the bucket before we
let's
these things?
Let's go ahead and draw from the bucket.
Yeah, and then we'll get back to the conversation.
Yeah.
All right, where is the bucket?
You want to draw right here.
Okay.
Let me pull the top off. You want to draw first?
I would like to draw first. Now, this is the October bucket, right? This is all
October bucket.
Scary stuff for Halloween.
Put my mic up to it.
Oh, I thank you. All right. I'm not going to dig around too long this time.
Okay.
Nah, maybe I will. I want to make sure I get something good.
Oh, my gosh, draw.
Well, I feel like whenever I just pull right off the top, then I wind up with something kind of lame.
Are you going to read it?
Pretty excited.
Okay, what is it?
Tales of Halloween.
All right. I have not seen that. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, and I remember Neil King, shout out to Neil, telling us how cool it was. That was a year ago, easily.
Yeah.
And I've been excited, and that's pretty exciting. I was still more excited when I drew Dune and Hodorowski's Dune, but this is pretty exciting.
I must knock the bucket on the floor.
Let me hold it.
Okay.
And you draw while I hold.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time drawing. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Lake Mungo.
Lake Mungo.
That's
Not to be confused with Lake Placid, I assume.
one I put in there because I feel like people should see it. I've seen it. You have not.
Where's it from?
Australia, maybe?
Okay.
It's great. It's great. I really, really like the film.
All right.
And when you watch it, folks, I'm going to just say this now. It obviously not every movie is every person's cup of tea. I strongly urge you, stick through this movie all the way through the credits.
All the way through the credits?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this movie scarier than The Babadook?
I haven't seen The Babadook.
Fair enough.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Vamp.
I can vamp. I can't believe Wes hasn't seen The Babadook. That's a movie that gets talked about very often in the circles that he and I travel in. I saw The Babadook pretty much as soon as it was available on streaming. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it. It's an enjoyable enough horror movie. I know a lot of people have said it's the scariest, most inventive horror movie that they've ever seen. I'm not entirely sure if I believe that, but I remember there being a lot of really good performances. And, you know, it's pretty good and scary and kind of funny and, you know, that sort of thing. It's what you want in a horror movie. You don't want to be scared the whole entire time. You need the comic relief to make you feel better about the scary moment that you just experienced and to make you forget about the scary moment that's lurking around the corner as you work your way through the movie. Babadook. Check it out? I'll say yes. I'm so excited to watch Tales of Halloween. I'm a fan of Halloween, both the time of year and even most of the Halloween movies about Michael Myers.
I like that original one an awful lot.
The original Halloween.
Yeah.
Michael Myers and Laurie Strode and Steve Todd.
I prefer to watch 1 and 2 back to back.
How do you feel about the zombie Halloweens?
They're not that good.
No?
No, I mean, you know, he did... It's interesting. When he did House of a Thousand Corpses, I was really, really excited.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this guy's just like ripping off Texas Chainsaw. It's not that interesting.
Okay.
I feel like he tries to do stuff, like tries too hard for shock.
Okay.
A lot of stuff doesn't really feel that motivated. I like that he tried something, you know.
Yeah.
2, his second Halloween, not as good as the first one. Partially probably because it's such a departure, and it's
such a departure.
It's a little bit of like, I don't know, nonsense stuff, but you know, he tried to do something.
Fair enough
with it. Yeah, I think there's something to be said about the blank slate Michael Myers versus the Rob Zombie one. The Rob Zombie one is I don't know, just kind of a little too vicious and aggressive because
it's very
and
vicious.
Motivated. It's motivated. After you watch the second one, you find out everything's motivated.
Yeah,
and the idea of just sort of like a blank slate killing machine that just like lives to kill, I think is much more terrifying to me.
Okay, all right.
I don't need dirt and grime on the mask. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, I can understand that.
But you know, he tried.
I mean, I tip my hat to the Rob Zombie Halloweens because it's like this. The guy's going and making 2 movies that are basically reboots of a movie that at that point had already seen, 8?
Yeah, they're really remakes. I mean, they go beyond reboot.
Yeah, they are remakes. So I tip my hat because it's like, here he is. He's going and doing Halloween 1 and Halloween 2, quote-unquote, remakes. There's already been like at least 7 Halloweens, maybe even 8 at the time. And yet he managed to make these 2 movies very, very different from those. And I think that was a pretty hard task to pull off. He did do the right job of including Danielle Harris in the cast.
Yep.
And also, and good old Angela Trimber is in Halloween too, and she's awesome.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Angela Trimber, star of
The Final
The
Girls.
Final
the
Girls.
movie you were obsessed with.
Folks, it's Halloween. If you haven't watched The Final Girls, watch The Final Girls.
I like her videos where she's dancing.
Oh man, yeah, she's
Dancing in the
she's a
laundromat
treat.
and whatnot. Yeah, she's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, she's a very talented young lady.
You know what it is?
We were in improv level 1 together. That's why I'm such a great big fan.
Dropping. You know what's great about her is that she exudes joy in her movement, and that's why those dancing videos are so much fun to watch. She's just it's just like pure unbridled joy in all of her movement.
You can tell she is having a great time.
Yeah,
just dancing around in front of strangers. Way to go. But that's not a very Halloween part of the conversation. But here we are. We're done talking about those 2 horror movies. Now we got to watch Tales of Halloween.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And Lake Mungo.
I'm only like sort of excited.
Why?
About
Lake Mungo?
Tales of Halloween. Because I don't know what to expect. I'm worried. Here's the thing. I loved Trick or Treat.
Me 3.
And I'm worried this is going to be a subpar grab at that of what made that good. So we'll
okay,
but I'll be worried about it. We'll go in. I'm gonna go in with as much of an open mind as I can.
All right.
And
did I say right or all right? All right.
Right.
All right. So those are the 2 movies we are going to watch.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want spoilers about recent trailers or Magnificent 7, feel free to turn this off. We say goodnight to you.
Yep.
I'm going to try to keep talking over all that noise in the hallway because there's some sort of person train going.
The Howler monkeys are back.
Ooh, The Howling.
The Howling
is also a horror movie franchise.
It is.
How many of those were there? Just like 2 or 3, maybe?
I don't know.
Isn't one of them literally called like The Howling 2? Your Sister is a Werewolf. I think.
I don't know.
Maybe that was a dream I had.
I watched the first one. Was not that impressed.
Not that.
It's considered to be sort of like a classic.
Yeah, it's The Howling. It's werewolf stuff.
If I'm going to watch a werewolf movie.
Silver Bullet.
More so London. American Werewolf in London.
Oh, man. Did you get to go to Horror Nights?
I've never been to Horror Nights. We've had this conversation.
I don't go very often. But if they ever bring back the American Werewolf in London maze, and maybe I've even said this on a previous episode, I don't know. If they bring back the American Werewolf in London maze, go to Halloween Horror Nights. That is the greatest scary maze I've ever experienced. Yeah. And I've experienced some.
Okay.
Not that many, but quite a few, and that was the greatest.
Here's a quick peek behind the View the Right Thing curtain. Desi is on her way home.
Oh, cool.
She's swinging by Alfredo's. Would you like anything?
What do they serve there?
Burritos, tacos. I get the super fries, which is like fries with like carne asada and guacamole and stuff on them.
Someone's coming in the door.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get a visit from Chris.
Oh, it's Halloween
roommate Chris.
Surprise.
Roommate Chris. This is gonna be roommate Chris. Roommate Chris makes an appearance on the podcast. Say hi to the viewsters, Chris.
Hi.
That's pretty faint.
He said hi. He said it quietly though. He's giggling.
Yeah, we're just about to talk about some trailers that we saw recently and Magnificent 7.
The Magnificent
we went and
7.
saw the Magnificent 7. Have you seen that yet, Chris?
No.
Oh, then you don't want spoilers. So get your ass out of here.
Whoa, GYAOH.
He knows I mean it out of love.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to come see you later.
Bye, right. Chris.
Thanks for making an appearance, Chris. Appearance. Is it an appearance if it's just audio? An appearance seems to be very visual, you know?
It really does.
Viewsters, what's a better term?
Yeah, I don't know.
An audio appearance. So do you want something, Steve? Because she's asking, what do you want?
No, I think I'll be okay.
You don't want a burrito? They're pretty good. Like a carne asada burrito or a carnitas burrito or something.
I had that burger before we started the show. And that had 2 all-beef patties.
They got street tacos.
No, I'll be all right. Thank you very much for the offer, though. Gosh. Should I get in? Should I dive into these trailers we saw?
Yeah. Why don't you start?
Well, I'll tell you something interesting that happened at the very beginning of Magnificent 7 as a result of the trailers. And that is when it's first showing the, beautiful western landscapes of the frontier of America.
Yeah.
My brain, being such a fan of sci-fi and all this, that, and the other thing, for the first few shots of Magnificent Seven, part of my brain was just expecting this to be like a sci-fi Western.
Are we skipping trailers?
Well, I'm talking about how this was an effect of the trailers. Because there was so much science fiction in the trailers.
There was a Western in the trailers, too.
And there was a Western. And then when Magnificent Seven started, I was like, cool, what a beautiful planet they're on. I wonder what kind of robot cowboys. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is Magnificent Seven. This is set on Earth.
Yeah.
In the
They had that Chris Pratt sci-fi film.
Right. That I think that played a trick on my brain. I also haven't had a whole lot of sleep or coffee today.
Yeah.
And here I was expecting this Western to be a sci-fi Western, and just my brain having a fart. That's all.
Okay.
Just having a brain fart. But, man, what trailers did we see?
So we saw a Western with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, which was called In the Valley of Violence, I believe.
Yeah.
In the Valley of Violence. Ethan Hawke.
John Travolta.
And John Travolta.
Which was weird.
And Taissa Farmiga.
Okay.
Of...
Up in the Air.
The Final Girls.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, Vera's in Up in the Air.
Yeah.
No, little sister.
Always
actually,
bring it back to.
I found out Taissa and Vera are sisters,
not mother-daughter,
with like 6 siblings in between.
I always thought they were like mother and daughter. I just assumed.
I thought so too. Yeah, they're sisters. How about that? Taissa, Vera, if either of you is listening, say hi to both of you. You're both
hi to both
great.
Of you.
So that was in the Valley of Violence. Then we saw Passengers.
So in the Valley of Violence, real quick.
Oh, you got news?
Well, so it's Ethan Hawke, Karen Gillan.
Oh yeah, from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Guardians of the Gillian.
John Travolta.
I feel
like I saw somebody else in it that
Taissa Farmiga.
That struck out, but maybe not. Directed by Ty West, who is traditionally a horror director.
Oh.
Hit and miss for me, Ty West.
I can't think of what he's directed.
Well, he did one truly fantastic film. Actually, one really fantastic, one pretty good one.
Okay.
The fantastic one is called The House of the Devil. It's an 80s babysitter trapped in a house. Something's trying to get me. It's not made in the 80s, but it takes place in the 80s, and the whole thing is shot as if it's an 80s film. It's got that grainy 80s look. I mean, it's very, very authentic.
Whoa.
And it also has...
sounds scary.
Who is that? Deborah Winger?
Deborah Wasserman Schultz?
Dee Wallace. Not Deborah Winger.
Dee Wallace was E.T.'s mom, right?
Yes. And Deborah Winger was E.T.
Hey, what?
Yeah, did the voice of E.T., I believe.
Did she really?
Yeah. Tom Noonan is in it.
Tom Noonan from the Monster Squad and Last Action Hero.
Yep. If you haven't seen that, maybe we should add that to the list. It's very good.
The Monster Squad?
No, The House of the Devil.
I want to watch Monster Squad so bad.
It's one I recommend. It's definitely a slower film. It's definitely a throwback to it's more of a throwback kind of to 70s, but it's definitely an 80s kind of film.
Yeah.
Everything is very authentic to the ads in the pizza place they go to the music. To the style and filmmaking.
Cool.
It's really, really cool. He did this other movie called The Innkeepers, which is about
people who keep an inn?
People who keep an inn and trying to ghost hunt.
No.
In this inn. Stars Sarah Paxton and Pat Healy.
Oh, I love Pat Healy.
Yeah, Pat Healy is good in it.
Why can't I picture Sarah Paxton in my
Kelly
mind
McGillis is in it.
Kelly McGillis.
Yeah.
Wait, Kelly McGillis from Top Gun?
Yeah.
Okay, making sure I still got
Lena Dunham is in it. Some people like her.
Take my breath away.
But yeah, Sarah Paxton and Pat Healy are fantastic in it. They work in the inn, and they also are trying to investigate EVP and that kind of thing. And
cool.
And there's some.
Wait, did you just say Lena Dunham?
Lena Dunham is
of HBO's Girls.
Yeah,
well, that's cool.
She plays barista.
So
she doesn't have a big part in it.
What if she's playing a girl who's named Barista?
Well, I mean,
her parents are that cruel.
I've seen the movie.
Oh, okay.
And I like it.
So you're saying that one's good, but House of the Devil is great.
House of the Devil is very, very good. But then he did he did VHS and he did an ABCs of Death, and honestly, those VHS movies aren't very good.
They're
real
VHS,
popular,
right?
They're real popular, but
well, I think what it is they're they're right there on Netflix, so they're easy to watch.
Yeah.
And, it's just a bunch of vignettes that are completely disconnected. So it's I'll give this a ride. And yeah, I hear you.
He did like the Cabin Fever sequel.
Oh yeah.
He did
Cabin Fever 2.
The Sacrament.
The Sacrament.
Yeah, which is about they go. It's like a news group goes to this like cult to go find this one of the guy's sisters.
Whoa!
And they get embedded with this cult.
A lot of scary cult stuff going around lately.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do I? Because
it's
I
like
just
a Vice.
yeah.
It's presumably they're with Vice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty intense.
Yeah. It's I don't know, Red Statey to me.
Oh, okay. Red State by Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I'm not blown away by it, but
all right.
But it's interesting because this guy has been horror, and so for him to be doing in a Valley of Violence, and it's produced by Blumhouse.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it's interesting. I kind of thought as soon as I saw that logo and then it was a Western, I was like, okay, something supernatural is going to happen here. Any minute it's going to be about ghosts or whatever.
What if that is going to happen? But for once, a trailer is keeping some secrets from us.
It's possible. Well, I mean,
really hope that's the case.
There was an implication at first because I knew it was Blumhouse. And I didn't know it was Ty West at the moment. But
all right. Yeah, when you see Blumhouse, you think horror.
Yeah, and they beat up in the trailer. They beat up Ethan Hawke and throw him off a cliff.
That's also true.
So he could be like a ghost guy or like a zombie guy or something for all we know. But that isn't really implied in the rest of the trailer.
Not at all.
It's implied that it's just a revenge thing and he just happens to survive.
In fact, there's a bit where you hear Travolta yelling, "He's got military training. He'll kill us all."
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if military training was quite that effective back
in the West.
I feel like back then it was sort of like, did you sign up? Good. Here's your gun. There's what you shoot at.
Yeah.
But I wasn't there. I don't know for sure.
Yeah. So that was that trailer. I don't know. I might go see it. Travolta kind of turns me off a little bit, but
all due respect to the man, when Travolta's playing a villain, I get a little nervous.
Yeah,
I get a little nervous. That's all I'm going to say. What was another trailer that we saw?
The Chris Pratt one. Passengers.
Chris Pratt.
Did you know that?
Michael Sheen
when I was looking
Jennifer Lawrence,
looking up Chris Pratt. Did you know that he was in Gem and the Holograms?
I don't think I did.
I didn't know that either because I haven't seen it. But now I kind of want to see Gem and the Holograms, see what Chris Pratt is doing in it.
You know who plays Gem?
No.
Aubrey Peoples.
Okay.
Star of Sharknado.
Oh, okay.
We shared a trailer. No big deal.
So you've got Lawrence Fishburne in this Passengers film. Who else is in here? A lot of people I don't recognize.
I don't know if we're supposed to know that anybody else is in it. Aren't we supposed to just think it's Chris Pratt and Lawrence
because there's a whole thing. There's a whole thing with like videos and their friends. And,
right.
There's like a big like. I know why we woke. Oh, so basically, these people are on a like 180 year. I don't know. They're on like some sort of journey where they have to go into cryo sleep, and they wake up 90 years too early.
90
Two of them.
years too early.
And either everybody else is still asleep, or everybody else is dead already.
Oh no!
So there's some sort of malfunction. I got the feeling that they're all still asleep, and that they're going to try and save them. But there's some sinister, nefarious thing going on.
Scary, man.
There's also like a romantic thing going on too.
Oh, space romance.
Michael Sheen plays.
A robot?
A robot.
A robot bartender?
We think he's a robot.
A robot bartender?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. It was a cool looking trailer. Looks like there's going to be a lot of really good special effects.
Yeah.
I like Pratt. I like Lawrence. I like Sheen.
I like the director.
Who directs it?
The director is a guy by the name of Morton Tildum.
Morton Tildum.
And what most people have seen is a little film starring Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Called The Imitation Game.
Oh, right, about Alan Turing.
About Alan Turing.
And the
coding
extremely horrible story that his life turned out to be.
Yeah, sad.
Real sad, and just downright evil that was inflicted upon the guy.
Yeah.
But he saved our butts in World War II.
Sure did.
But we're not here to talk about...
So we got a Rogue One trailer. We get any other good trailers? Or have you seen any other good trailers recently?
Yes. Well...
You want to talk? We don't talk about it today necessarily. You can talk about it. But if I haven't seen the trailer, I might not want to know about it. So,
It's a great trailer.
Just FYI.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, I've seen a trailer that I absolutely can't talk about at all.
Oh.
But what I'm going to tell you is it's great. And as soon as I'm allowed to talk about it and share it around...
So it's not out yet?
As soon as I'm allowed to talk about it and share it around, y'all are going to be like, good trailer.
Does it rhyme with car tours?
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you off the air.
Okay. Sounds
I won't
good.
show it to you.
You know what you always say? I'll tell you off the air, or I always tell you that. And we always, every time so far, have forgotten to talk to each other about whatever it is.
I'm a very forgetful person.
Yeah. I'll tell you the spoiler later or whatever, and then...
I bet we talk about it eventually.
Maybe. I don't know. But I remember, like, I've thought about it, like, multiple times after the fact. I've been like, oh, we never did talk about that thing.
So are you asking me if I've seen a trailer for Star Wars Episode 8?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
I don't think anybody
That'd be
has,
crazy,
have they?
right? I don't know.
I feel like it's way too early for that.
I don't know. I bet we get one with Rogue One.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't even consider that.
It's only 2 months away. There's got to be a trailer being cut.
Well, not Episode 8 isn't 2 months away.
No, but Rogue One is 2 months away, which means there's got to be a trailer for Episode 8, right?
This is terrifying.
At least a teaser.
This is just terrifying right now.
I mean, the movie's wrapped, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't even want to think about it.
It's not wrapped.
So far
it's
away.
Close to being wrapped. Yeah, I'm sure they're cutting stuff.
You're so far.
I mean, we're probably going to get a Thor Ragnarok
stay in
trailer,
one place anymore, right?
And we're going to get Star Wars, I would think.
Man, that's going to be crazy.
Thor Ragnarok or Star Wars?
Both.
Yeah, I'm excited for Thor.
I saw a headline recently that said Thor Ragnarok completely ignores the first 2 Thor movies and all of the Marvel MCU.
That's a lie.
And I'm like, that sounds like a lie.
That's
but if that's
lie.
true, it sounds like a really bad choice.
Well, it's going to be hard for it to ignore the Marvel MCU because
I agree.
There's another character besides Thor in it from the Marvel MCU.
I would say there probably is.
I mean,
anyway,
they've said it already. I don't know if we need to go there, but
I can't think of who it is, so I don't want to know.
You can't think of who it is?
I don't.
They've said who it is. They've put out.
I'm sure I've heard who it is
of this character
and I've
costume.
pushed it out of my mind, which means now I don't want to know.
They put out concept art already.
I don't care.
All right.
I'm trying to avoid spoilers, baby. Like I wish I did not know about the
trailer
big
that
surprise appearance in Captain America: Civil War about Underoos. I wish I had no idea that was going to happen.
Yeah, I stayed away from watching. I mean, I knew it was going to happen, but
I knew it was going to happen too.
I'm all right
and
with it.
if it had happened and I didn't know it was going to happen, I would have been totally thrilled.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they had like
it would have been
actually
so awesome.
Teased it a movie early.
Could you imagine the feeling from that?
Yeah, it would have
been
crazy.
so great. And instead, it's like, no, this movie's cool, but there's pretty much no surprises.
That was
in
too big of a deal, though, to keep out. All right, let's
keep those secrets, Hollywood. Keep those.
Well, they can't
secrets.
because that was too big. They had to work out a deal with Sony. Complicated.
Yeah, I guess.
So, all right. So let's talk about since we can't think of any other trailers that we can talk about right now. Which you don't hear for a lot of the film.
Which is okay with me.
Yeah, I was okay with it too.
Because
I expected it at the beginning, but it's okay.
I feel like they worked it in well.
Yeah,
you know?
they did too.
You hear hints of it throughout the score.
Not really. It was really at the very end.
You hear hints.
It seems like the music was similar, but didn't actually have any of the theme in it.
Right.
It was just close enough.
Bum, bum, bum.
I don't think it did.
It wasn't those exact notes, but it had that.
Yeah, it had
in
a
lot of the stuff.
It had a different.
And it's like you could tell. Okay, I see where they're going with this.
All right, folks. We got another appearance by Desiree. Uh-oh, Des. We're just about to talk spoiler-filled about Magnificent Seven.
And what a 7 they were.
So
cool jacket.
Thanks. Wes hates it.
Why?
I hate that jacket. It looks like a 80s newswoman.
What's wrong with the 80s? The 80s were like the most fun decade.
Can we not talk about jackets? We got to talk about Magnificent Seven because we're like over an hour into this podcast.
Desi's in the room. If you don't want to spoil it in front of her, we got to talk about something else till she's ready to leave the room.
Career women wear shoulder pads, and I'm leaving the room.
This is not going to be a long discussion. We're not going to go super crazy into it, but there will be spoilers.
It won't be, and we won't.
I'll text you when we're done, or I'll come get you when we're done.
Yeah, I mean, go get her. She's in the other room.
She said text, but I'm going to get her.
I understand.
All right, so Magnificent Seven.
Now, this is a movie.
A remake of a remake.
Yeah. It started as Seven Samurai.
Yeah, and I think there's actually one.
Is there something before that? Holy
Seven
shnikes.
Samurai. That Seven Samurai is sort of like loosely based on.
Oh, wow.
I'll look that up while you talk about Magnificent Seven.
So then it was remade as Magnificent Seven, a Western starring what? Yul Brynner back in the day?
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. So many greats. And now, all these years later, Magnificent Seven, remade yet again, starring Denzel Washington as Sam Chisholm, Chris Pratt as, I forget what his name was. You got Vincent D'Onofrio in there. You've got Ethan Hawke as Goodnight Robichaux. You got, what were the other guys' names?
Who are we talking about? The other.
I'm trying to.
They weren't
list as
like
many of the
famous
cast
people.
off my head.
There were some people that like the guy who played the Mexican actually was from Mexico. The guy who played Native American was actually Native American. Those are I mean, they weren't like really very established here in the U.S. I don't think.
I understand, but they did fine work, and it's an action-packed movie, and it's got we commented on the way out that we had no idea it was as long as it wound up being.
Yeah, I thought it was
didn't
like
feel long.
I thought it was like closer to an hour and a half.
Yeah, it did not feel long at all.
And it was like 2.5 hours somewhere in that area.
Definitely
Closer to 2.
Probably probably like 2:10ish.
Well, we got out at about 4:30.
I feel like we walked out at exactly 4:30. If I'm not mistaken.
It started at 2. There were probably 20 minutes of trailers. So it's probably 2:10.
Definitely 20 minutes of
So you're
trailers.
probably right. 2:10.
Yeah, but real cool movie. Real just
Directed by Anton Fuqua.
Anton Fuqua of Training Day. And did he do The Equalizer with Denzel Washington?
He did do The
a year
Equalizer.
ago? Maybe 2. God, how long ago was Equalizer? It feels recent, but it might. Equalizer was cool. Did you see The Equalizer?
I did see The Equalizer.
I enjoyed it. It's not perfect, but was the show really all that cool?
Yeah.
And so to make a cool movie out of it was pretty.
He also did, Southpaw.
He's done so much. Southpaw.
He did that not so good King Arthur movie.
Oh, the one with like Jan Griffith and Joel Edgerton and Keira Knightley, right?
Yeah.
That's that movie.
Replacement Killers.
He directed Replacement Killers?
Yeah, he did Replacement Killers.
Why did I always think John Woo had something to do with
The Replacement Killers was like the first, because it has like Chow Yun
Chow
Fat
Yun
or something.
Fat, yeah, that's it.
That was the first big film he did.
Okay.
Then he did his one that like made him famous was Training Day.
Yeah.
But
King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Olympus Has Fallen, which wasn't very good. Equalizer, which is okay. Southpaw, which I haven't seen, but I hear is good. I've heard good things about Southpaw. I hear the performances are very good. He's making a face. He's making like a grimace face. Not grimace as in the McDonald. Now he's making that face.
I was doing like 4 different faces there.
So Magnificent Seven. Anyways, Magnificent Seven. I'm actually not a big fan of Training Day, but I think it is a great film.
Yeah.
It's just not my kind of film.
No.
I like this one a lot. I think this is one of his better movies.
This was a blast.
It was a lot of fun. Here's the problem with the movie.
Sure, let's hear it.
It's pretty faithful.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're remaking a film that has essentially been remade since it was made. Like we have seen this plot over and over and over again in westerns since the original Magnificent Seven because it was so good. Because the Seven Samurai was so good.
Yeah.
We've seen how this plot runs with the villain coming in and having a stronghold on the town, and that some plucky young person, usually a woman, pleads with someone who assembles a group, and they take the town back, and then there's a big showdown, and there are no surprises in this film.
That's pretty true.
It's what's going to happen if you've seen any of these types of westerns.
Yeah,
Clint Eastwood's done them. I mean, like Unforgiven is a really good example. You've seen these movies over and over again, so there are no surprises. However, that's the problem with it. With that being said, I enjoyed the film. I suspect some of the criticism and the somewhat low score it got on Rotten Tomatoes is probably due to the fact that there are no surprises and people have seen it over and over again.
That tomahawk to the chest was a pretty big surprise.
Yeah, well, that
was a fun little scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can understand that. But at the same time, like if you're if you're going to make a movie that really doesn't have any surprises, make it a really fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt's great. He plays
thrill ride.
He plays the Steve McQueen character.
Yeah.
He tells the same joke that Steve McQueen tells.
Why can't I remember what his character's name is?
Faraday. Joshua Faraday.
Right.
Yeah, I actually thought the standout in the whole film was Vincent D'Onofrio.
Doing that high-pitched voice thing.
Yeah, I was
horn.
blown away. It's like every time he does a character, he does something you haven't seen him do yet.
Yeah.
You know, like you go back to Men in Black, or you look at Law and Order, or you look at the Kingpin and Daredevil. I mean, he's just so diverse.
Huh. Yeah.
It really, like, Full Metal Jacket. I mean, every character is so completely different, right?
Sure.
Jurassic World's probably his most, like, invisible of his characters, which is kind of like standard.
Yeah, he's just kind of a dude who's a big blowhard and kind of is there to, kick ass and take names.
He's trying to be sneaky in that
this movie, how would you define him? He's kind of like
he's like a little bit of a recluse who's like kind of like
recluse.
Got his like mind a little twisted by the horrors that he's committed. Maybe they refer to like having killed 300 Native Americans and having scalped them back.
Yikes.
Yeah, and he's a little like nutty.
He's got a screw loose, and he's got that real high pitched kind of scared voice going all the time.
Yeah, the whole time. It was really, when he started talking, I was like, "Who is this?
Yeah.
This can't be Vincent D'Onofrio."
Yet there he was.
Yeah,
great beard.
Yeah,
great beard in this movie.
Chris Pratt had one of my favorite lines when he was like,
which line?
I think he said something along the lines of, I think that bear is wearing human clothes.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, I thought that was
funny stuff. Oh, you missed the scene.
Yeah, that bear is wearing people's clothes.
There it is.
That was the line.
You missed the scene when Red Harvest showed up.
No, I can't. Well, I saw him peeking out at them.
Yeah.
And then he shows up the next morning and they eat the thing out of the
oh, you did. You were in the. I thought you were.
I was
out
sitting
of the
right next to you. So here's what.
I thought you would go into the bathroom.
Yeah. So we got these giant drinks at AMC.
Yeah.
And
I'm still drinking.
I had worked my way through one where I thought I was about maybe 20 minutes into the film. I was like, crap, I have to go to the bathroom. But we had 20 minutes of trailers prior to that too, so we were probably 40 minutes into our drinks. But here's what I knew.
Yeah,
I chose to leave. Was it an opportune time? I hope. Because I've seen a million of these.
Yeah,
I thought to myself, I have to go to the bathroom, but I know what's going to be coming up is a scene where two characters probably have a heart-to-heart in front of a campfire, and those are usually not that important of a scene in these films. And so once the campfire scene happened, so we had already seen a glimpse of Red Harvest, like watching them, and Vincent D'Onofrio's character hadn't joined up with them yet. They talked to him, but they hadn't joined up. The campfire scene happened, and I was like, this is my cue. So that's when I got up and went to the bathroom.
Okay.
When I was leaving, Chris Pratt's character was walked over to Haley Bennett's cohort, the man that went to help hire them. He went over to talk to him, and he said, "If you give me a drink of your whiskey, I'll show you some shooting tricks."
Right.
That was the last thing I heard. Went to the bathroom, came back just as they were waking up in the morning.
Oh, see, I thought you were still out when they were waking up.
No,
okay, so you saw that.
I was pretty quick.
I'll say.
Was there anything important that happened in that moment when he drinks the whiskey? Does he teach him how to shoot something?
No, he's just kind of mean to him. He basically holds a card out.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, like,
Does he do a magic trick?
No, he's just like, take this card out of my hand. And the guy reaches for it, and he just withdraws, and he's like, you just lost your first gunfight. Take this card out of my hand. And he tries it again. And then he's like, take this card out of my hand. And this time he lets the guy grab it and then pulls a gun right in his face.
Yeah.
And then the guy gets really super duper offended. I forget what line he lays on him about it. And like the dude's like, how dare you like pull a gun on me after telling me you were going to teach me about how to draw a gun. It was a strange.
So he didn't really get the lesson. He didn't understand
He
it.
definitely didn't, and it was also just kind of a strange choice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get it. Like, he's teaching him, don't be distracted by the thing that they want you to be distracted by.
And kind of be ready for anything.
Yeah.
And yet that dude, like, got butthurt about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. I loved it.
I don't know, I don't think I would recommend people spend, $20 a ticket to go see it or anything. But,
What about 19?
Not 19.
Not $19.
I think we spent $13 per ticket. I'm okay with that.
All right.
I'm all right with that. I don't think it's like quite matinee level, but I'm okay with like $13 a ticket. That's all right.
Okay.
Performances were good. The action was a lot of fun. If you want to see people get shot, a lot of people get shot. I
think everybody gets shot.
I think the scene that I enjoyed the most, that I think is the most fun to watch, is about 2/3 of the way through the film, and that's when they actually show up in the town for the first time. And you were just coming back from the bathroom when this happened. Okay. And there's a really, really great gunfight in the town where they just lay waste to everyone.
Yeah, it's insane.
And there's some good moments that happen that are unexpected. And it's just a lot of fun to watch. Because it's always fun to watch the bad guys get what's coming to them. I do agree with that. It's interesting because there's a much bigger action sequence where they do some fun stuff. They telegraph a little bit too much of it, I think. But those scenes are harder to watch. And here's where we're getting into some spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend just waiting. But although if you've seen any of these types of westerns, you probably know what's coming.
You know what's coming, folks.
Most of the men don't survive. Most of our heroes don't survive the film.
Yeah, that's true. Sad but true.
And unfortunately, you know exactly how everybody's going to die. At least a minute ahead of time. When Faraday rides out.
What does he say? Before he rides out.
I've always been lucky with. Oh, what does he say before
he says?
He says you owe me, and he says
a coffin,
what? And he says a cover.
A cover.
He wants him to cover him.
Okay.
With bullets, so he can get out there.
At first, I could not tell what he said. I was like, did he say a coffin?
No.
A coffee?
Cover.
A cover. Okay, there we go. That makes a lot more sense.
Like, what do I owe you? And he says cover. And so he rides out, and his whole thing, like, as soon as he puts the cigar in his mouth, you already know what's going to happen. But you kind of have a feeling he's got to have that type of plan already. Like, how's he going to deal with the Gatling gun? So
yeah, he's got to have something up his sleeve. Card, trick, humor.
Ethan Hawke and the
Billy.
Yeah, Billy
rocks.
Billy rocks. Yeah,
the samurai.
Yeah, well, I was gonna. Yeah. I like
disguise.
That. The knife man.
He's definitely a knife man.
Yeah.
A bladesman.
The pig sticker.
I guess that's one way to call a knife. You know what?
I think they referenced that, the pig sticker.
You know what I didn't
in the film.
like?
What's that?
In the opening scene.
Yeah.
When the bad guys are messing with the people in the church.
Yep.
They show a very clear shot of one of the bad dudes doing some fanciness with a knife.
Was it the Native American guy?
No, it was a different guy.
Okay.
And I don't think we ever saw that guy again. And also, they didn't bother having the good knife guy versus the bad knife guy.
I'm all right with that, I think, because ultimately...
But they shouldn't have bothered showing that guy then. Because they clearly were like, oh, this is the knife man.
Well, they didn't have the knife guy in really a knife
showdown.
Bad
guy.
They didn't have the knife guy in a showdown with knives at the end.
No, they didn't.
Which I'm okay with.
But they should have had him fight another knife guy. I just wanted an excuse for just a little more martial arts, basically.
Yeah.
Just a little more.
I'm happy with what we got. I was pretty happy with that character. I like that Red Harvest. It's interesting. The three minorities are the ones who survive the film. The Native American, the Mexican, and the black guy.
Oh right, yeah.
Oh yeah, the black guy was there. You're like, oh yeah, Denzel.
Yeah. I have to sneeze. Keep talking.
All the white guys bite it, and the Asian guy.
And the
Well, I guess the
Japanese
Asian guy is a minority too, but
I would think so.
Yeah, especially at that time.
Oh, yeah.
They were building our railroads.
Oh, America.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie a lot. And then, you
It was a
know,
blast.
they at first very subtly bring in the chuck 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 chuck. And then they do just the full on music in the end credits, which I really liked.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Real cool.
Any other final thoughts on anything you liked or didn't like? You liked the girl.
She was lovely.
I wish they would have done a little something different with her. I mean, again, like that's the biggest problem with the film, is that just nothing new is done there. You know, we talked about two films that took what was expected of them and did something very, very different with them.
Yeah.
And they're not made necessarily as well. They don't have the star power behind them that like a movie like The Magnificent Seven had.
Right.
But in some ways, like, you really have to appreciate those for doing something really unique, you know?
For sure.
Makes them stand out. And I wish Magnificent Seven had done that.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's still a fun ride, though, man. I'm excited to see it one more time, like right before it leaves theaters.
It's almost always fun to watch a Western.
Almost always.
Especially modern Westerns. Because they tend to be like lots of gunfire and explosions and things. So
yeah.
And
horses.
Yeah, and I think they're coming around to excuse me, an old Western idea, which is the bad guys are truly bad guys. That was like an old, like very Sergio Leone, Once Upon a Time in the West kind of thing, where bad guys they killed children and innocent people, and they were really bad, and they got what was coming to them.
Right.
And you know, I think nowadays oftentimes the villains are kind of too fancy. They're kind of poncy. You look at like Lone Ranger or
I don't even remember who the villain was.
Django Unchained, and you know, it's kind of fancy, like Ponces. You know, like roughly. I don't know. I like these
basically rich guys who hire the bad guys to do their dirty work. Yeah, I see.
And there's a little bit of that in this, but not that much.
Wasn't really all that tough. He just
but he was definitely there when all the bad stuff was happening. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he just sent his guys off to go do something and have them report back. He had a hand in killing people.
Yeah.
Jerk. I mean, he shoots an unarmed man at the beginning of the film.
Who was it? Peter Sarsgaard, right?
Peter Sarsgaard was
Sarsgaard, not Skarsgård.
Bart Bogue.
Bogue.
Sarsgaard?
Peter Sarsgaard's.
Not Stellar Skateboard.
No. Not Stellar Skateboard. Somebody's hammering something outside now?
They're batting balls around at the baseball field across the street.
That's what it must be.
So that's our Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, now
discussion.
We have to watch 2 movies for the next Halloween episode.
Yeah, so we'll watch Lake Mungo. And Tales of Halloween.
Tales of Halloween. You're coughing all of a sudden.
Yeah, I know.
Let's get your microphone off.
Sitting funny here.
Let's say goodnight, Gracie.
All right, goodnight, Gracie. So, yeah, not really. That's not how we end this.
Right.
All right, so we will see you guys actually just in about a week, because we are going to get this out on Halloween, I believe.
Whoa.
So this next one will be out on Halloween. So go watch Lake Mungo. Have a good time with that. Watch Tales of Halloween. Let us know what you think.
Have a good time with both, I hope.
Shoot us some texts or an email or something, you know.
Tweet at us.
At
VTRT Movies.
That's what I meant by text.
And
we
at
will
Stephen Nohowood.
Yeah. And we're on Facebook. We're on
Instagram and all the stuff, probably.
Yeah.
Say your favorite phrase. It's the phrase that pays.
Bon Cinema.